Well, hello, everyone. This is Keith with Positively Osceola. Welcome to Positively Osceola Live. And really super excited about the conversation today because I think it really resonates with a lot of folks on where we're at. And usually when you say it's resonating with the community or resonating with a lot of folks, you're somehow talking about finance, or you're talking about how we spend money or what we have to spend money on. And today, bringing a really great friend of ours along with us, and that is Charlie Draper, attorney at law, and since 1984, and one of our favorite people to speak to because he is just rich in lots of different facets. And certainly today, we're going to talk a little bit about insurance, the expense in Florida, and growing expense in Florida, and how that affects, our families. And you know, it's not just money. We'll talk about that today with Charlie. And so welcome to the show, Charlie. How you doing?
Morning. Thank you for having me. Look, I'm excited about this morning's topic.
We are friends, and but we are certainly also frequent partners in this particular on this show. And we're always honored to have you because I know you're super busy. Let's get right at it today. I know I'm going to ask you to kind of introduce the topic. And I sometimes I think people go, well, why are you talking to an attorney when you're talking about insurance? But you see the end result of people who may be underinsured or uninsured. And so we're going to talk a little bit about that today. I'm going to kind of turn it over to you. And just again, thanks for being here. Go ahead and take it away on the topic, if you would.
Thank you, Keith. Where to begin? It's almost like the perfect storm that we're facing. And I say, and I'm talking to you both as a citizen of Osceola, right, and as a lawyer, okay? Because what I mean by a perfect storm, I'm looking at the area that we live in, which a lot of our residents work in the hospitality industry. A lot of us live here because it's lower housing costs than, say, in Orange County or Seminole County. But in light of that, we're also seeing homeowners insurance skyrocketing. And I'm talking 40, 50 or plus percent more each year. And yet our wages, particularly those in the hospitality industry, they're not going up 40, 50% a year. Rent is going up astronomically as well. You see, at one time, Osceola used to be affordable, but how can someone who's in the middle class afford a $400,000 or $500,000 home?
Right.
It is so challenging. You've got rent going up, you've got inflation, and so you've got auto insurance that is going up as well. So what is the consumer? Where's the consumer going to cut corners to their budget, the household budget? I mean, you just can't. Your employers are not paying you enough to keep up with inflation, or it's. I'm really concerned about it. I am, and my fear is, and I've seen articles where there's homeowners who are cutting off their insurance and going self-insured. it's frightening. So what does that mean to you and me and our families and the families of the Osceola residents? Well, people, because of these high costs, they're going to cut where they can. And if in terms of auto insurance, if it means carrying the bare minimum, they're going to do that because they need to make ends meet. And so that's fine for them. That's their decision. But if they're involved in an accident, that's their fault with some innocent family that also has the bare minimum insurance. There's no way to get compensation for those injured in that situation. So the only way that I know that you can protect yourself and your family is by buying uninsured or underinsured motorist coverage. And a couple of things about that. Number one, you can't buy uninsured motorist coverage. Number one, if you carry uninsured motorist coverage, you carry underinsured motorist coverage. They're one and the same. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, uh, so if you're involved in an accident and it wasn't your fault and you're seriously injured, and the other person does not carry any bodily injury coverage, which is not mandatory in Florida,
Right.
Then if you don't have uninsured motorist coverage, you're screwed. I mean, there's no way to get you compensation
Right.
for you or your family for any serious injuries. Now, having said that, what is the cost of the uninsured motorist coverage? That you're going to have to take up with your agent or your broker. I can tell you a couple things. One, you cannot buy uninsured motorist coverage unless you carry bodily injury coverage, which is bodily injury coverage is the type of coverage that protects you if you cause an accident.
Mm-hmm.
Uninsured motorist coverage protects you and your family in the event that you're involved in an accident that you did not cause and someone in your car is seriously injured. And there are two types mainly of uninsured motorist coverage. One is stackable, the other is non-stackable, which simply means if you have multiple vehicles in your family and you choose to carry stackable, if one coverage, uninsured motorist coverage, isn't sufficient to compensate you, then you could stack it onto the next vehicle. Costs vary. The cost for uninsured motorist coverage vary from company to company.
Mm-hmm.
But I would implore you to at least talk to your agent or an insurance broker to get the cost of that type of coverage. And so when you get your insurance bill each 6 months or a year, it's broken down to the different types of coverage. Okay. And so you'll have, you may or may not carry bodily injury coverage, carry PIP or no fault coverage. That's mandatory. Property damage liability coverage. That's mandatory up to 10,000, and uninsured motorist coverage. You just have to figure out what you can fit within your budget, okay, to protect you and your family. But I can tell you this, given the number of accidents I see every day on our roads going to and from work, there's a high likelihood that you're going to be involved in some kind of accident, okay? And so you've got to protect yourself and your family. So it's a decision. It's a wise decision for you to make. The amount that you carry is, what you can afford. The more that you can afford, the better. But I understand that environment where everything is rising. You've got to tailor it to your budget, but it is one type of insurance that you don't want to go without. Okay. And so, Keith, you indicated earlier in the show that you've got some numbers. So maybe you can share that with us.
Sure. Even just in the auto sector, what I was seeing in a number of different sources was auto insurance up over last year and the year before, up in the range somewhere between 75 and more than 80%. And so that's a hard thing to measure out, of course. And I mean, I like what you said. It's the complication of today's particular economy where we live that makes this even more of a serious issue. And it's not. I can remember when I was younger thinking, my gosh, what's the likelihood of what's the real likelihood of getting in an accident? My gosh, I'm just kind of throwing that money away. It's never going to happen. And of course, that's a false way to view things. And like you said today, if you drive through Osceola County, unfortunately, we see a lot of people crashing into each other. Basics in physics you can't be in the same place at the same time with another vehicle. But you know what hit me when you were talking about expenses? I think one of the predicaments that makes it a tad bit more challenging financially is if you have a younger driver. That if you have a child that gets the license in the household, you're going to get that. It's not a matter of you not telling somebody. They're gonna know that you licensed a teen driver, basically, and that insurance is going to get extraordinarily higher real quick. And I think so. Then that's the great crazy thing, right? Then you say, well, my gosh, I've got my teen driver. I can't afford uninsured motorist, but that's even crazier of that risk because now you have an inexperienced driver that might find it harder to get out of the way of somebody who's driving recklessly. That's
right.
Kind of how I taught my son, trying to say, I know I have faith in him as a driver, and I do. It's that other variable, which is the folks around you. So it's pretty challenging. I would share this as well. I know this is kind of off target. I'll make it real quick, but I know when I mentioned a teen driver, so I want to at least say Osceola County Sheriff's Office basically every month has a teen driver course that they put on. There's one coming up this Saturday, the 23rd of September. I think it's 8 in the morning. I'll look, but anyway, that's a great way to keep the kids driving as best they can. But I know what you're saying. It's a complicated subject, even just in the auto world. But I would like to kind of reinforce something you were saying. The challenge is if you don't get that insurance, that uninsured motorist, and you call an attorney's office such as Draper Law Office, they're going to break that bad news to you that it's going to be difficult to get those finances to pay for those medical needs because you don't have uninsured motorists. It's huge. I know it's huge.
And just so as a practical matter, let's say the other person who caused the accident does not carry bodily injury coverage, okay? Right. And you do not carry uninsured motorist coverage. So you might think, well, I'll just sue that individual who caused this accident. And right. You have every right to do that. But at the end of the day, after you're able to litigate and get a judgment against that individual, they can pay some bankruptcy lawyer $1,000 and get that judgment discharged. And so you're at the end. It's uncollectible.
Yeah.
It's just not a good situation. And everyone, particularly in Osceola, has recognized and witnessed the rapid increase in our population just by virtue of the number of subdivisions that are being built. People are moving, into the area, and that's fine. But you've got congested roads, which is a recipe for an accident. That's why I say it's it's pretty risky not to carry uninsured motorist coverage, because chances are you will be involved in some accident by someone who is a distracted driver,
Yeah.
not paying attention, in a hurry because they didn't leave their house in time to get to work.
Right.
And so, by all means, examine that opportunity, because it will protect you and your family at the end of the day.
Yeah. And I think we could both clearly or confidently say that if you sit down with a decent insurance agent, they're going to explain this to you. Challenge is sometimes people think that's a sales moment, and that is not always the case at all. They're trying to help protect you. If you go online, I know I'll name the brands. If you look at Geico, or if you look at certainly the General and all the online sources. Not that the insurance agents in the area like to hear that, but they will also. You'll note that when you're trying to do that online, that web-based insurance application is going to lean you towards uninsured motorists and not allow you to get uninsured motorists, like you said, without having bodily injury, or try to get more uninsured motorists than the bodily injury amount. So great advice, Charlie. I know we're getting up there in our talk time, which I'm fine with. Can we touch a little bit on the home insurance aspect as well, just as I mentioned, because people might ask why we didn't address that. I know that's also people.
Yeah, so that's tough. We live in an area of Florida where hurricanes are not that uncommon, and certainly the insurance companies have taken a hit in the last couple years. They've done well before that, but in the last couple years, that's what we hear about. And some of the insurance companies have left the state, but I dare say that if you own a home, there's a good chance, more likely than not, that your homeowner's insurance rates are going to be going up substantially this year, simply because of the cost of the hurricanes, like last fall, the two that we got in late, I think it was in September, October. And it was really, it caused they caused a lot of damage to both the West Coast and the East Coast.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so the traditional insurance companies are hiking their rates. A lot of people are being forced to look at. Actually, people are not being insured. They're discontinued the program they can't do it midstream unless you don't pay your premium. But once it's renewable, they can decide to not insure you, and then so you might first to go to Citizens Insurance, which is the state insurance. And so, but compared to 3 or 4 years ago, and homeowners insurance rates are going up. It just breaks my heart that some people, and I don't know if it's more the retired people living on fixed income that are just not being able to afford it and are being forced to go self-insured. But that's a very risky proposition, because as we've seen in the past, hurricanes can be devastating. And so there's no question. The question is not, will homeowners insurance go up? The question is, how much will they go up?
Right.
And how much, And another point that you were making that I think bears out, Keith, when you're referring to a lot of the internet auto insurance companies. Listen, insurance companies are in it to make money for themselves.
Sure.
Okay,
Mhm.
and so if and they're competitive, so they want to compete against everyone else. So you bring them your old product, your old insurance package to evaluate. They're going to see. They're going to offer you. They're not going to offer anything more than that unless you ask for it.
Right.
But they're going to suggest maybe cutting corners so that they're offering you reduced rates,
Right.
and not explaining to you the importance of the different uh, types of endorsements that they could offer. So again, the insurance companies are not your friend.
Yeah. No matter what the commercials say.
Right.
It is,
Good label.
yeah, it's the business they're in, right? I mean,
Right.
that, we need to have insurance, and that is their business. Like you said, it's highly competitive. I know we should come back and do another round of this because I don't think we can even get it all done today. I know we're kind of running along. I know I wanted to give you a couple stats real quick. What I was seeing when I looked was the home insurance in the average price of insurance for a home in Florida was over $7,000. I found that hard to believe, but I know with wind mitigation and all those things from home inspectors, it certainly can drop it. But we were number one in the nation, Florida. Number two was Oklahoma, which you could understand why they would be as well, weather based. And then number three would be Louisiana, assuming again they are on the edge of the old Gulf. They're looking, and they've had their issues. So tough scenario for home. Certainly, we could get into the liability or the challenges with not having insurance with a home, not just the roof, but the liability issues that happen with all of our homes. And so I'd love to have you come back. I know we typically wait 30 days, but if we can schedule a couple of weeks from now, I'd love to get into another conversation with you while we're thick in the hurricane season. Would that possibly happen for you if we could do that?
Absolutely. We'd make time.
All right, you got it. All right. Well, Charlie, I appreciate your time today. Do me a favor, give us the elevator speech overview. If somehow, folks, I know you've been around since 1984 here in the county. So if you would give us a real brief overview of what your firm does for the residents in Osceola County.
Yes. First of all, we're located. Our office is located right across the street from the old courthouse, right on Emmett Street, 705 West Emmett Street. We basically practice in two areas of law: automobile or personal injury, which is limited to automobile and motorcycle and accidents. 90% of what we do is our auto accidents.
Right.
Another 10% are slip and fall, trip and falls. The other area of law is family law, divorce, child support, custody, visitation. And so what we find is that by concentrating on those two areas, we can deliver the best advice and representation to the residents of Osceola County.
Gotcha.
Our telephone number is 407-846-0075. You can find us on our website, draperlaw.com. If you're in the area, we'd love to have you just stop in and chat, and whether you have a legal problem or not. So look forward to meeting up with the residents. And I can't encourage you enough to examine your auto insurance policies and get some numbers or premium numbers on carrying uninsured motorist coverage.
Well said. So we thank you for your time. Again, we could speak for 2 or 3 hours on this, and I'd have a good time, and you'd have a good time, and maybe some other folks have a good time, but we'll break it into a few different sessions so they can get on with their lives also. I really appreciate you being with us today. Great information. There are challenges, but there are solutions and pathways to doing the best you can. with those challenges. You certainly shared a few of those today, and we appreciate it, Charlie.
Thanks for having me, Keith. Enjoyed it.
You got it. Again, we'll post some more information. People can look at certain avenues with the topic that we discussed today in the way of insurance and making sure you're protected and safe as you can be in our community. Again, really had a great time talking, and we'll reschedule this in a couple of weeks and continue on. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, again, this is Keith with Positively Osceola with Charlie Draper from Draper Law Office since 1984 in and around Osceola County, taking care of the citizens and those passing through our county together, making a positive difference in and around Osceola County. Take care, everybody.